What about the Brady Bunch couch?
Oh, yeah, the Brady Bunch couch Mom had. One point they had them separated. One was on one wall, one was on the other. The one with the table, Mom had put her shorter artificial Christmas tree on. And there were so many Christmas presents. That was on the wall, like close to the front door. There were so many Christmas presents between on the table and the couch. You couldn't sit on the couch anymore. You couldn't get in and out the front door.
Okay.
It was so, it was piled high, and I always thought, oh my goodness. Even as a child, I realized, what if something happens and we can't get out the front door?
Really?
It worried me. I was like, but I remember that Christmas, there were so many gifts. Elder and Diane were there.
I don't know if I remember that.
Everybody, I think Pookie was big enough to buy a few gifts, and Mama would take me, you want to buy each your siblings a present, a little something.
Yeah.
So we all had to wrap a little,
Not like Aunt Mavis. Aunt Mavis's house. Do you remember all the presents?
I remember.
How many kids
I
they
think
had?
it took
9?
up half the room. And it was a big living room.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 kids.
All total, yeah, between them.
It would just be piled up on each side of this big Christmas tree all the way up and had no names on the presents. But Aunt Mavis knew what each present.
One, yeah, who they were for. That was amazing.
Incidentally, that couch, that Brady Bunch couch, I remember when Mama bought it from LaFar Furniture.
LaFar Furniture, right.
He threw in some lamps, I think, and all that. Was a pretty lamp.
The big
turquoise lamp.
Big lamps.
Daddy hated that couch. I can remember them having a little bit of a tense conversation.
Really? I don't remember that.
That he did not, he was asking her in French, why did you buy that? It wasn't that she purchased or spent money, that was not the kind of couch he was figuring on having.
I thought it was the coolest couch.
He didn't like it, it was uncomfortable.
It was those foam mattress things, like a bed. It was like
they could make a bed, yeah. I think the bolster backs bothered him, and it was not quite what he had in mind. But I remember old Mama laying on that. They had one up against the brick wall, and she'd lay on that. And then if wrestling was on, then she was fussing.
Yep.
Fussing at the wrestling. And she would speak mostly French, but then she'd throw in some broken English and just, like...
She loved her wrestling matches. She really did. You remember going to Homo? Pookie drove us, you and me, and Mama and him, and he drove us to... And Taton, that's right. And was it her that threw a water bottle into the ring?
She threw a cup. You get the cup of drink, and they were, the wrestling people, and no, it was old Mama threw it.
Somebody threw something.
Threw the crumpled cup at the ring at the wrestlers. And here comes the security, the policeman. It was at the time. He's telling Taton, you can't. She said, I didn't do nothing. He said, I saw you throw that, and old Mama was laughing. Laughing.
She threw her daughter under the bus.
Yep, let her daughter take the rap. Say, do that again. You got to get out of here. Yeah,
that was funny. I'm still not sure how Pookie convinced Mama to take the car and take us all the whole way.
Why did she think that? Yeah, why did she think that old Mama and Tante Erlene would be good chaperones? You know what I mean? Old Mama couldn't read, she couldn't write, she couldn't hardly understand English, and Tante was just Tante.
We didn't want to get us in trouble.
It
couldn't go off with our grandma without getting in trouble. That's
crazy.
bad.
Do you remember the Christmas decorations, the lights that Daddy would put outside the windows?
Oh,
they
were big,
blue.
Mama loved the blue ones.
What were they called? C9,
C5.
I don't know what they called. C4, explosive, just those big bulbs, and they were blue. And everyone around the windows, Daddy that liked the blue.
Really? Because Mama used to like to put blue on
I guess they agreed on the blue.
I guess.
They talked about getting the little lights. Hated the couch, but they would agree on the lights.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That was a good thing. And getting up when we go camping in Grand Isle, in Cheniere, and getting up early in the morning long before the sun come up to go trawling in Dad's boat. Oh my word!
It was fun once you were there.
Smell the coffee, that was a good smell. Making up to that in the camper, but to get going, it's like it's too early.
I remember the boat Daddy had a cabin on. I had gone with them, Pookie and all that. I remember falling asleep because it was so hot.
Yes.
And sleeping on that bunk. And what woke me up was they had caught some shrimp, and Daddy had peeled some and was routining it in a pot with some butter. It smelled so good.
Always good. Do you remember the time, were you on the boat at that point? I I remember being in the cabin sitting on that bunk, and we were like kind of not really in the bay, but just inside from the Gulf in that little kind of like a little bay area, and they picked up the frame of a trailer that had been washed.
I remember that.
And they're just going along, and all of a sudden the boat goes, front end comes out the water. I fell off the bunk. There's a boom outside the cabin. I was like, whoa, what just happened?
For Hurricane Betsy, all of those trailers and stuff had been washed into the bay.
Yeah.
And it was like a graveyard, so to speak. And you had to be careful where you would fish or where you drag your nets, and Daddy caught onto a frame of a mobile home.
I pulled the front of that boat. It was like a 40-foot boat.
Or at least
35, 40-foot boat for sure.
Yeah.
With a wooden boat with cabin, and the front end was coming out the
yeah.
water.
Oh. Benji boom and everything.
I don't think I ever went back on that boat after that.
I don't know if you remember, we were much younger than that, but he had a Lafitte skiff parked at a slip in Leeville at a shed. And I remember we went, he needed to do something, I don't know.
Oh my word. I forgot all about that boat.
And somebody had put in some, Daddy said some cereal, some kind of syrup, some gooky.
To mess up the
goopy something to keep him from going out. Like,
yeah.
He was so mad that he wouldn't speak.
I remember that.
You know, if he spoke, it was enough. But so angry and cold sober that he would not say a word.
I remember that. But
I knew to sit there and just be quiet.
Oh yeah, it was best bet.
Yeah, he never turned any of his anger on us or on Mama. But we knew what he was capable of.
Yes.
We'd go to local fairs, local festivals. Out riding, you got to pay one price ban. Here come the cops. Pookie comes up. Let's go. Like what? You know it's Daddy. Daddy had gotten into a fight under the tent with somebody.
Yep.
Getting thrown out. We had to leave. It was an early ride to go home.
What about the time in front of LCO? I remember what festival it was. But we were on the Scrambler. I had just gotten my ears pierced. Like you did, we did at the same time. But we were on the Scrambler, you, one of your friends, and me. I got put at the end where it slings all the weight.
Of course you did.
You know, I'm the littlest one here. I used to be little. And it started drizzling, and everybody's hollering to shut it off. And I remember in the spinning around, I see Dad talking to the ride operator. And we thought, he's going to tell them to stop the ride. No, he was telling them, keep the ride going. It was raining. We were screaming, and the guy just kept the ride going, in the rain.
And I'm sure my mama was somewhere on the other side saying, stop.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you know that.
We grew up with our dad saying, hit first.
Yep.
And ask questions later.
Yep.
And my mama would be behind him saying, don't hit people.
Yep.
And then Daddy would say, yeah, you look at Mommy looking at Dad. I remember Dad stooping down. If somebody hits you, be sure to hit back. Don't you not hit back. If you don't hit back, I'm going to hit you. And my mama's behind him going, don't hit people. Don't hit on anyone.
We're so confused.
You know, Oprah and Dr. Phil. We could get, you know.
This is true. Remember that white boat Dad had gotten from somebody on? It was a
whaler, a Boston whaler.
Yeah, from at the marina. It had problems. They thought they fixed it, and we all went for a ride on an Easter Sunday.
We hit a log?
No. Yeah, well, I thought it had just fall apart, but I knew that the leak that they had thought they had fixed did not last.
Didn't, and they had hit a log, a submerged log, yeah.
We were way far from the dock in the canal, and the boat was sinking.
Gabrielle was a baby. We had traveled enough, like behind La Rose, and we were down in Cutoff.
Yeah,
and
some back
Daddy
canals.
and Elridge, you, me, Charles. Who else was with us?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Brandy, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Brandy. So we had to come back.
Nice
it took
boat.
15 minutes tops. Took us 2.5 hours to get back.
Terrified.
And Daddy and Elridge didn't want to say that what they were watching out for was the alligators that they could see along the way if we went down. I'm not a good swimmer.
I didn't know how to swim.
But which one of us, was going to put a kid on our back and try to tread water? It was awful. It was awful.
Bad.
Yeah.
Well, it was like the time Dad decided Mama wanted to go hunting in Terrio, back behind Houma.
Terrio? Wow.
That's where the launch was.
Uh-huh.
And so she wanted to take her friend Mabel, Cindy Boudreaux Helmer's
Yeah.
Mama. They all wanted to go hunting, so he took the three of us. I'm wearing a lime green outfit. She wants to go duck hunting. I'm like, well, whatever. So we got in the boat, aluminum hull, go down the canal. We went hunting. I don't know. I guess he killed something. I don't remember. But I do remember that the motor conked out about halfway back to the.
He never had good luck with motors at all, with engines like that.
No, and we sat there and it was getting dark and nobody wanted to stop and help us.
Oh.
Finally,
I didn't know that.
finally a couple of men in a boat with a bigger boat than Dad's stopped and said, hey, can we help you? And they were trying to help Dad fix it. And they said, let us tow you in. It's dark now.
Getting dark, yeah.
You don't need to be out here. I assume there were alligators. I mean, it's water. It's wet in Louisiana. As long as your
Fresh
water's
water,
wet, there's
yeah.
alligators
Fresh
there.
water,
you know?
yeah.
And so, yeah, they had to tow us in. I was so scared. I'm like, we're going to sleep here. We're going to die here tonight. I just knew. I was probably about 13, 14 years old, I guess. 12.
I remember
don't know,
that.
in that neighborhood. And I was so scared. I knew that's where I was going to die, right there. In the dark with the mosquitoes, the alligators, everything else. Just the end of my life.
Daddy and I had gone to the store. I was probably 13. Wonder what Mom had sent us for something. On the way back, across from LCO on the buy side, not as big as it is now, but they had an area with the gravel you could
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And there was the Lafourche Parish cop sitting there,
Uh-oh.
facing the highway, and he's doing this to Dad to flag him down. So Daddy turns and he pulls in beside him, so they're, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in French, the cop, who was one of my dad's cousins, said, they're looking for you. Us te cherche.
Oh.
He asked him, qu'est-ce que tu veux? What do they want? Because he said, oh yeah, what do they want? Some fight my daddy had gotten into, and they were looking for him, and Daddy said, let them come. They know where to find me. He said, you didn't hear it from me. I'm just letting you know.
Right.
So you would know. Never remember cops coming to the house with my dad.
No, they never came to the house for Dad.
One
no.
time they were coming back from a wedding. Some relative that got married in Golden Meadow. And Daddy'd been drinking, so Mama's going to drive. Remember that burgundy colored Chevrolet they had?
Mm-hmm.
So she's driving that. They come around the curve by Golden Motors. Cop stops him. It's Van, my dad's cousin.
We've told you a story about Daddy again.
Driver's license, please, or whatever. And Mama's smiling the whole time because she knows. And he looks at her, and Daddy leans over. Oh, June, I didn't know it was y'all. I didn't recognize. And
Yeah.
he was backpedaling, and you gonna give her a ticket? No, I'm not gonna give her a ticket. You stopped her, give her a ticket. I'm not gonna give her a ticket. All this in French. Donne-lui le ticket. Non, on va pas donner un ticket. Back and forth, and Van would get more and more aggravated because he was as bad-tempered as my dad. But
his
real
mother
cocky.
was an Anselmi.
Real cocky, right?
Yeah.
Why you gotta be so stupid? He told my daddy in French. Daddy said, "You want me to get out of this car? Give it a ticket. Just go." He told.
That they would get that was they were like first cousins.
Yeah,
First cousins. Him and the chief of police was.
yeah. And Mama was probably going 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit.
Yep.
One time, they were at a dance down to Bahia. Place was crowded, and the song "Remember Me," wonder whatever. Everybody's dancing. You know, you jostle each other, and this one guy turns. Oh, excuse me. You know, tells Daddy. Song got finished. Daddy went and tapped him on the shoulder. He turns around. Hey, the guy tells him. Daddy says, "Remember me?"
Wonder why we feared our dad.
20
growing
years
up?
earlier, this guy had sucker punched my dad. And he never
wow.
forgot. He never forgot anything.
No.
Okay, dead paid. Here you go.
Yeah.
He was something else.
Yeah, he was.
Oh.
You remember we came back from Grand Island time? David was coming up to buy for the weekend, I guess. We stopped at that restaurant that eventually was a discotheque at some point.
Yeah.
And Daddy was drinking, and we were going to back the car up into the parking lot. Well, in front of this place, in between that and the highway, was a really deep ditch, really deep.
Yeah, big drainage. Mhm.
And I said, I'm going to park the car. Mama said, no, you're drinking. You're
Let
not
me.
parking the car. I'm going to park the car. And she was backing it up. And backing it up, boom, back off the it.
Yeah.
He said it. I'm the one drinking.
He laughed, boy, yeah.
It was hilarious.
She felt foolish, but yeah, he's like, and I'm the one drinking. Yeah, they were a pair.
They were something. They would go dancing at the Hubba Hubba. Yeah, on the highway.
Maybe. Hubba. Mm-hmm.
And I was little. And they would bring me. They had no babysitter. They'd bring me to the bar room, set me at the end of the bar, had the bartender give me Sprite or 7-Up or whatever it was. Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't that little either because I would get in the phone booth and call my friend Dana. You're not sitting in the bar. And I'm like, yeah, I am. You hear the music. My mama wanted to go dancing.
Mama
and he'd
liked
take her
to
dancing.
dance.
And I'd sit for hours waiting for them to be finished dancing. And
Daddy liked to dance, but Mama really liked to dance, and she was very good at it.
Yes, she was.
She was very, very light on her feet.
Yes, she was.
Yep.
And those spike heels.
As I was saying
Never
earlier,
understood that.
she would be afraid on the interstate. I was telling Erin, deathly afraid. Mama, what are you afraid on the interstate? What if I take the wrong exit? Get to turn around and, get back on.
Yep.
What if I pass up my exit and I say, you get off?
Get back on.
Yeah, I explained to her how it worked. So I'm going to show her how it worked. Before I thought about it, I took an exit that did not have any entrance back on the interstate. I told you. That's what I'm afraid of. That's what's going to happen. But she would take us, when we were younger, take us down on Canal Street. She'd navigate all these places.
We'd go shopping.
And to take us shopping for school. We had to follow those spike heels walking down the...
What was the one store? It had an elevator. It had an actual elevator operator.
Rubenstein Brothers, I believe. Yep.
It was an older guy sitting on a stool.
Yeah.
And he would take you up and down the elevator, up and down. I remember
That's making us sound really old.
Yeah, yes, we are.
We're not.
35 and 39. That's getting up there. I mean,
we can't claim the.
I did that with Mom too, going in New Orleans, and we're gonna miss the exit. And sure enough, we missed the exit. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Keep going. About a mile or two down the road. Take that exit.
Yeah.
Now go to the left.
Yeah.
Now get back on. And then get off.
And Mom
but
was
on the wrong
smart.
side. Then Mom, get off there. Instead of going to the right, go to the left.
Yeah, she was smart. She her fear of the
panic,
unknown or panic getting lost.
Yeah.
But like I said, when this is stories, of course, because I wasn't born, but Daddy and Uncle Vincent were on a trawl boat somewhere like Corpus Christi or something.
Wow.
And Earlene had a car but didn't drive. She never did drive to Taunton.
That's true.
Mama knew how to drive, but they didn't have a car. Daddy had the car over there.
Yeah.
So one night, Mama convinced Earlene that they could do this trip. They got in the car and drove all night. 2 country bumpkins that didn't know anything, they could read. Went all the way to Corpus Christi to see their husbands.
That was a long
Talk about young and dumb.
ways, okay.
Yeah, you didn't go anywhere back then.
No.
So that kind of adventurous spirit, she was afraid of that interstate.
Yes, she was. Well, I remember the first time I was old enough to drive, I had been 15, she had an eye doctor appointment in New Orleans and was going to get her pupils dilated. And she said, you can drive, but you're going to have to cross the Huey Long. I wasn't afraid. Got in the car, Mama drove over Huey Long. Mama was dying. I'm like, I didn't realize the fear of cars passing so close to us. I got aggravated with the 18-wheelers because, of course, it was so narrow. The 18-wheelers would take up both lanes.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Because it was too hard for them. And I remember driving her, and she said,
"You're lucky she let you do that."
Yeah, she didn't scare you. Nope, didn't scare me. Not one bit.
I
came back same way. But I've done that before on the causeway for somebody else. She was terrified. She's like, I can't believe I drove all the way over here. The causeway bridge was bad for her. And,
Mama?
No, for a friend.
Oh, a friend.
And I said, and I said, I'll drive. Get me to New Orleans. And Mama told me, she said she won't be afraid to drive it. And I took the wheel at the gas station. We stopped and filled up, crossed the causeway. I drove the bridge.
And the causeway's not. I don't think causeway's bad.
I don't know.
It's not like
she
the
was
Basin
terrified
Bridge.
because she couldn't see the. I guess she couldn't see land. At some point, you don't see land. She was scared.
Oh yeah,
like,
it kind of.
Just keep driving. It's one bridge straight. Does this a couple times. It was no problem. But all the time.
I can remember Mama driving and old Mama in the passenger seat, and you were probably sitting in the front seat between them.
Probably.
And I was sitting in the back seat with Taunt Lawn, old Maman's sister, Eleanor, Peter's
See,
mom.
I don't remember her.
Had to take her like to the doctor or something over
Yeah.
there, and she was so afraid of the tunnel. And she
I
was
remember those
just skin and bones,
stories.
poor baby. She's little lady, and oh mon Dieu, she would be saying, oh my God, and she's hiding, scared of that tunnel. And as children, we thought it was funny.
I remember
but
that.
she was
I don't
definitely
remember, I don't remember
afraid.
seeing her, but I remember hearing that, being in the car. I don't.
And Mama would try to calm her down,
Yeah.
or Mama would say something, but she wasn't having
Tunnels
it.
didn't scare me when I was little, but now it's maybe not fear, it's claustrophobia.
A little claustrophobia is
Because
it's one that I don't know.
I want to get out. I need to get out. But I think that was a lot of Mama too. She had fears that were really not. very
Mama had a
reasonable.
lot of phobias.
Yeah.
That things that she perceived, and some things that the worst case scenario outcome was the first thought of her mind, and not just for herself, but the people she loved. That's why she would cotton wool. Is just her love was so deep. When she was a kid, like she had an uncle, a young uncle that died of maybe measles or some childhood disease.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then a very close cousin, I think, because there's two separate people that died. Like maybe one had pneumonia. But I mean,
Wow,
they didn't have what they needed.
Right.
Pookie's named after one of them, and I don't
That's how he got
remember.
his name. I didn't know that either.
Yep. So for the people she cared about the most, the fear of you getting sick. That's why every time we sneezed or coughed, Dr. Boulay made a fortune off of us.
Yeah, now you gotta listen. He had a miracle cure for the cold.
It's called a cocktail.
Yes, that was his specialty.
I'm gonna fix
And
you up
within-
with a cocktail.
And 3 hours later, when you woke up, cause we lived like what 5 minutes from the doctor's office.
Maybe.
Crashed on the couch. 3 hours later, you woke up. You were fine. There
He
was
felt
nothing wrong with
great.
you.
He'd mix all those bottles. He'd be putting this bottle and talking to you and shake it up. And it worked. You
It
went to
worked.
sleep. That's the God's honest truth.
Yep, and he
You
give you
woke
that
up like,
that see-through yellow, look like the yellow lollipops. That's why I can't have a yellow lollipop.
Yes,
because
I
of
don't
that
remember
medicine.
what
To
it
this
was
day, I
called.
think lollipop, and I take that medicine. It tasted horrible, but I don't know what it was, but it worked.
it worked. You felt better. You're right. You felt better.
Yep.
You woke up like, okay, Dr. Booley.
Yep, he
And
was.
Miss Williams.
He was when you were little. You were sick with a bad cold. I kept telling Dale, if I could just get her down the body, Dr. Boulay would take care of
He
her.
had the cure.
And it'd be over with.
He had the cure.
I knew by the time we'd make it back to Alexandria.
Do you remember going to Funky's restaurant in La Rose? Eating
my
shrimp,
word.
shrimp loaf?
Shrimp loaf, yes.
Mama used to call it. Man, that was so good.
She loved to eat there.
And then Mr. Gus's ice cream parlor across the street on the Bayou side. That was like a drive-in.
Yes.
Remember that? Mr. Gus.
Yes. I remember he
Went to
had
school
a
with the
daughter.
granddaughter.
One or two daughters that would work there, I think, or something.
He had a granddaughter that was my age, Debbie.
Do you remember on the Global Road, there was an Exxon station on the right?
When you first went
Yeah.
on it, yeah, the Picos had that.
Picos, there you go. And I remember
Yeah.
they made some awesome roast beef po' boys
Yeah.
we would eat.
Remember
And
we used
they
to go
would,
there?
I don't know, the adults were on one side, we'd hang
Yeah.
out in the restaurant. I used to like that. That was fun going
Lots
there.
of things changed on the Bayou. Now they say it's
Yeah.
really, really,
After Ida hit it, that was...
yeah. So many places that are no longer there.
Yeah. That, I want to go home. I want to go see that.
I still
but
haven't.
I don't think my heart could handle. I went back one time after Katrina and couldn't handle.
I went to La Rose to pick up Zoe from Chloe. She met me at the remember the Dale Champs parking lot? It became Rouse's.
Yeah.
And when I pulled up, the old K&B, the old Rite Aid, it was gone.
Oh, wow.
The Kmart part was gone. And there was it's like a FEMA trailers parking in the parking lot.
Is that the one that had the old National Supermarket?
No, that was Frank's
I
school.
heard that was destroyed, too.
Yeah, I think they've just finished tearing it all down. I'm not sure. But all the FEMA people were set up in the parking lot there.
Wow.
And I said, I don't think that I want to go any further. And Joey and all were expecting us, so I picked up Zoe and we hauled it back up the bayou.
I don't know if my heart
Because the
can
real
handle.
damage was from there
Further down,
onward.
yeah.
So,
I don't.
no.
I know South Lafourche High School got damaged pretty bad. A lot of that.
The hospital, they tore the hospital down.
Yeah, they just
They're
opened
gonna rebuild.
up. They just opened up a little building with emergency services and
Okay.
stuff. Just opened up a couple weeks
Because
ago.
they're supposed to, yeah, build it up or whatever.
Going to Philip George restaurant.
Or on the curve, yeah.
On the curve. Oh my word! I remember the time we were stuck on
Best
one
roast
side.
beef ever.
The bridge broke.
Which one?
The lift bridge
The one
crossing the intercoastal.
by Mavis?
Yeah, it
Okay.
broke, and we were stuck on one side or the other. We were on the wrong side, stuck. And somehow they got across, and with the boat crossed us over. Had to leave our car parked.
I don't remember that.
I remember that. I was like, whoa.
I do not.
Okay.
Do you remember the big oil tanks that were along the at the Grand Bois? Do you remember when one of them blew and caught fire? You must have been little because I was very young.
No.
Yes. We lived back at school by then though. That you could see the flame and stuff and the smoke and
I might
it
have
was
remembered
bad.
just some things, you
I
forget.
think a man was killed for that in that accident. I'm not sure. It's a long time ago.
You remember in our grandmother's house, Daddy's mama,
Yeah.
that shotgun house she had, her bedroom was in the front.
Yeah.
And Mom and Dad were in the back with her in the kitchen area.
Yeah.
You and me and Pookie, and I was little. Because she died when I was 4 or 5 years old.
Probably.
And she had that high feather bed.
With the quet on top.
Yes. And we would run from one room, run straight through.
Straight through and jump on the bed.
Yeah, y'all were big enough to jump on the bed. I was not. And Pookie would say, come on, do it again, do it again. Bam! Right up against the side of the bed because I didn't have it about me to jump up onto the bed. I couldn't make
The
it.
bed was really high up. She had a feather,
Thank God it was feather.
handmade, like homemade,
Yeah.
feather topper mattress. They used to call it a couette in French. I don't know where they got that word, and couette.
I have no idea.
And when you jump on it, oh, the air, but it was like jumping on a cloud. Yeah, it was fun.
But I couldn't make it.
She did not have indoor,
Plumbing.
bathroom and didn't want one. Yeah, she just was
She was something.
she was something.
She was by herself in that house.
By herself, wasn't afraid. I think they were more afraid of her, anybody around her.
Probably so.
Because
probably
she was
so.
something else. She was just, whew.
That's where he got it from. Everybody talks about the Anselmi temper, but it's not the Anselmi temper. It was the Lee temper more than the
I
Anselmi
think
temper.
he got the Anselmi temper. This is one thing. The grandpa that in Italy, Daddy's dad used to say that when he got mad, I'm trying to remember which grandpa, but it's the Italian one of the Italian. He would get mad and he would stand in the road and he'd garrocher people with a coup de caillou. He'd throw rocks at
Okay.
people when he was mad. Okay?